Job Sikhala is one of Zimbabwe's most prominent opposition politicians and a long-standing critic of the ruling ZANU-PF government. A former member of parliament for Zengeza West and a senior figure in the Citizens Coalition for Change (CCC), Sikhala has built his reputation as a fearless advocate for democracy and human rights. Over the years, he has been arrested more than 60 times on various charges, most of which his supporters claim were politically motivated. His fiery speeches and uncompromising stance against corruption have made him a symbol of resistance in Zimbabwe's opposition politics. Sikhala's political contribution includes mobilizing grassroots movements, defending victims of political violence, and challenging constitutional amendments aimed at extending presidential terms. He was instrumental in organizing protests against authoritarian governance and has consistently spoken out against human rights abuses. However, his activism has come at a cost: prolonged detentions, harassment, and now a dramatic arrest in South Africa. The arrest in South Africa. On November 7, 2025, Sikhala was arrested by the South African Police Service, SAPS, in Pretoria after explosives were allegedly discovered in a vehicle he was traveling in. According to police reports, officers acted on a tip-off and intercepted a silver Ford Fiesta on the N14 highway. A search revealed 26 blasting cartridges and 15 capped fuse connectors, materials classified as explosives under South African law. Sikhala, aged 53, was detained alongside his 78-year-old uncle, Alexander Thema. Both men were charged with illegal possession of explosives and are currently being held at Pretoria Central Police Station. Images circulating online show Sikhala in handcuffs, wearing his trademark Mandela shirt, seated on a roadside barrier next to his elderly companion. Another photo shows what appears to be explosives wrapped in a yellow plastic bag. The arrest has sparked a political storm, with supporters alleging foul play and government critics questioning the timing and circumstances of the incident. Sikhala appeared before the Pretoria Magistrates Court on November 10, 2025, where the case was postponed for a formal bail hearing. The National Prosecuting Authority, NPA, confirmed that investigations are ongoing and that the state has not yet decided whether to oppose bail. Was he framed? The question dominating headlines and social media is whether Sikhala was framed. His allies insist the explosives were planted as part of a sophisticated political setup. According to accounts from associates, Sikhala had been lured to a meeting by individuals claiming to represent Joseph Kabila's political circle in the Democratic Republic of Congo. They allegedly promised financial support for his pro-democracy initiatives in Zimbabwe. After the meeting, Sikhala drove away, only to be intercepted by police who claimed to have found explosives in his car. The National Democratic Working Group, NDWG, in Zimbabwe, issued a statement describing the arrest as suspected foul play, asserting that the explosives did not belong to Sikhala. The group vowed to defend him through all legal means and accused regional intelligence operatives of orchestrating the incident to silence one of Mnangagwa's fiercest critics. Political analysts suggest the arrest bears the hallmarks of transnational repression. Zimbabwean security agencies have long been accused of targeting opposition figures beyond the country's borders. Given Sikhala's history of persecution, he spent nearly 600 days in pre-trial detention in Zimbabwe before his release in January 2024. Many believe this latest episode is part of a broader crackdown on dissent. However, skeptics argue that Sikhala's controversial past cannot be ignored. His tenure as Secretary for Defense in the early MDC days and persistent rumors of paramilitary links have fueled speculation that he might have been involved in illicit activities. Critics question why explosives would be associated with him, pointing to previous allegations of violent strategies within opposition ranks. Legal proceedings and bail. As of now, Sikhala remains in custody in South Africa. His bail hearing has been scheduled for later this week, and legal teams from both Zimbabwe and South Africa are actively engaged. The NPA has emphasized that the case will proceed only if there is prima facie evidence, but the presence of explosives in the vehicle complicates matters. South African authorities have not commented on whether Sikhala will face additional charges or if the case will escalate into a terrorism-related investigation. For now, the charges are limited to illegal possession of explosives, a serious offense under South African law. Will he be extradited to Zimbabwe? The possibility of extradition is a major concern among Sikhala's supporters. At present, there is no official request from Zimbabwe for Sikhala's extradition, and South African authorities have not indicated any intention to hand him over. Legal experts note that extradition would require formal diplomatic engagement and a clear demonstration that Sikhala faces charges in Zimbabwe. Given the political sensitivities and the absence of an active Zimbabwean warrant, extradition appears unlikely in the immediate term. However, observers warn that political pressure could change the equation. Zimbabwe's ruling party has previously sought regional cooperation to neutralize opposition figures. If Harare frames the case as a national security threat, Pretoria might come under pressure to comply. For now, Sikhala's fate rests with South African courts. Political implications. Sikhala's arrest comes at a time of heightened political tension in Zimbabwe. The ruling ZANU-PF recently signaled plans to extend President Emmerson Mnangagwa's term beyond 2028, sparking outrage among opposition groups. Civil society activists have reported increased harassment, and several opposition leaders have been arrested in recent months. Against this backdrop, Sikhala's detention in South Africa is seen by many as part of a broader strategy to weaken dissent. The incident has triggered a wave of solidarity campaigns under hashtags like Focus Free Job Sikhala and Stop the Setup, with activists demanding his release and calling for an independent investigation. International human rights organizations are monitoring the case closely, warning that it could set a dangerous precedent for cross-border political persecution in Southern Africa. The arrest of Job Sikhala in South Africa is more than a criminal case. It is a flashpoint in Zimbabwe's ongoing struggle for democracy. The number of arrests of Zimbabwean political activists in South Africa is increasing. Whether he was framed or genuinely implicated in a plot involving explosives remains unclear, but the political undertones are undeniable. As Sikhala awaits his bail hearing, the world watches closely. His case raises fundamental questions about the safety of opposition figures, the integrity of regional law enforcement, and the future of political freedoms in Zimbabwe. For now, Sikhala's supporters cling to hope that justice will prevail, while his detractors argue that the law must take its course. What is certain is that this saga will have far-reaching consequences, not just for Sikhala, but for the entire Southern African political landscape. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.